Okay, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have a list of distinguished guests. We're going to start with our first speaker for today, architect Seong, who is our current PAM president. He's going to talk about the GBI topic for half an hour. Half an hour, all right. So I'll just pass the mic to him, let him brief you all what GBI is all about.
Okay, and as you can see, petrol in the years to come will cost an arm and a leg, and and that is one of the key sources of energy in Malaysia. Okay, so what we have done is under the combined efforts of the architects, professional architects and engineers in Malaysia, we have developed a tool called the Green Building Index in the hope that it will help us to develop the architecture of hope, the architecture that will consume less energy and contribute towards making our environment of the future a better and more sustainable environment. So it's a green building. What are green buildings? They consist of body of knowledge, technology, and opportunity for us to transform Malaysian buildings into through bioclimatic designs, which is initiated in the early years by architect Dr. Ken Yang. As you can see, some of the ideas that were initiated were actually done by him in the early years. And this was actually the award-winning Aga Khan Award building in Subang Jaya, developed by, the design was developed by Dr. Ken Yang as part of the contribution towards more sustainable Malaysia. At that time, the green buildings was thought of as the energy efficient or EE buildings only. And in fact, Malaysia had a whole range of energy efficient buildings. The Securities Commission building in 1999 won the ASEAN Award for the best low energy building. So if you look at the range of buildings that have been developed that are winning ASEAN Energy Awards throughout the years, you can see the first was actually the Security Commission's building, which I showed you earlier. And then subsequently there was the LEO building or low energy building. And this is where we start to develop the Green Building Index rating system for buildings, okay, for Malaysia. And the Green Building Index rating system then further developed to become a tool for designers to design sustainable buildings. And they are actually buildings, the tools and design tools that we have developed for the Green Building Index are suitable for Malaysia because it adapts to our climate, follows our resources, and meets our priorities, our own individual priorities of the country. Okay, so we have taken a voluntary bottom-up approach rather than a top-down by legislation, meaning the Green Building Index is a voluntary, incentivized, and broad-based method of implementation in this country, because we understand that a lot of Malaysians, when you take the top-down approach, they will find ways and means of going around the corner, and they will implement it not genuinely. But when it's voluntary and is given incentive and broad-based, many of the building owners implement it because they want to do it, not because there is a legislation or law coming down on them. Okay, now the Green Building Index was developed by the professionals, as I said earlier, and it is a non-profit NGO. It's a result of voluntary effort, and whatever funding that it begins to accumulate, or whatever it begins to grow, will then be used to fund research, advocacy, and promotion of a sustainable environment and for a more sustainable future for Malaysia. So you can see, although we are the owners of the copyrights to the Green Building Index, we are holding it as a stakeholder for the future of the country. We do not actually take anything out of it. In fact, we pump our own research grants into the Green Building Index to sustain and move it forward. And we hope that in fact, in our last year alone, we funded 250,000 worth of research on given to the University Kebangsaan Malaysia, or UKM, for them to do research on roof insulation. Okay, what are the effects? How do we use it? How do we measure it? Where does the heat come in? What are the different types of insulation, and what are the benefits of insulation? These are studies and measurements that they are going to do, and the report will then come back and will be made public. Okay, these are important measures, because if you understand clearly tropical architecture, if you are looking at, for example, a single-story terrace house or a factory, for that matter, in Malaysia, in the tropical countries, more than 75% of the heat that goes into buildings like that, single-story buildings, is through the roof. And if you do not insulate the roof, you have a hefty cooling bill or air conditioning bill for you to carry, and that is not sustainable, actually, fundamentally. So the Green Building Index was launched on the 21st of May 2009 by none other than the Prime Minister himself, and he, in fact, subsequent to that, took us as the key model for contributing towards his commitment to the world to reduce the GHG gases produced in this country by 40% by the year 2020. So what do? The rating tools itself have a robust assessment process, as you can see, stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, consisting of application. Then we have a design assessment where we look at the design of the building, and then we give it a rating based on the design. And then finally, there is a completion and verification assessment, which then awards the building the certification based on actual performance of the building, rather than just on theory and design alone. Okay, the rating systems, they look at 5 key criteria: energy efficiency, indoor environmental quality, sustainable planning and management, materials and resources, and water efficiency, and finally, whatever you didn't think of is then put under innovation. Okay, and of course, there's different rating classifications from certified to silver, gold, and of course, the platinum is the highest standard. Okay, and basically, they are divided into two groups of rating tools, namely residential and non-residential. And in fact, subsequent to the 2 new tools that for new buildings, we started to develop tools for existing building, okay, which is the new life for old buildings. And the other end of the thing is for green factories. The green factory tool was, in fact, Malaysia's one of the best tools, if you ask me, because it not only takes into account the building itself in the factory, but the entire process of the factories. So many of the factory owners who decide to adopt this tool, they see the marginal gains in terms of less pollution to the environment, and of course higher efficiency and production processes for them. They increase their productivity at no penalty to them. So it's a tool that we want to target, because why? Factories in Malaysia consume more than half the energy produced by Malaysia. More than half the electricity in Malaysia generated is actually consumed by factories. This is something which we will continue to push and advocate. And this tool, actually, we have one for new factories and one for existing factories also. Of course, subsequent to that, we started to develop a tool for larger areas, which are sustainable townships. And you can see sustainable townships. There is many of the developers in Malaysia have subscribed to it, and we have started to run pilot projects, and many of the key developers in Malaysia have started to get their buildings, their projects rated under the Green Building Index. And you can see Elena from Sime Darby Properties. And then, of course, there are other tools which have been developed along with our partners in the industry. For example, the data center tool, the tool for malls, shopping malls, which we developed with the PKK or the Shopping Mall Association of Malaysia, because they are our key customer. They give us the data and we work with them to develop the tools for this. Hotel, we work with the Hotel Operators Association and the Hotel Owners Association also to develop the tools for hotel. And right now we are still developing the tools for the hospitals, because the hospital owners, which is the private hospitals and government hospitals, are then contributing the data, and we work with them to produce the tools, which then suit their requirement. In fact, the earlier tool we talked to you about, the factory tool, was developed together with the FMM, the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers. So you can see we develop our tools and design criteria all based on working with the respective industry specialists. Okay, so you can see there's a whole range of residential, non-residential, and new construction tools, and also the township tools. These are the ones that we have been developing. And here you can see some of the buildings that have received a GBI rating. The first building to receive the GBI rating was in fact the GEO building, the PTM building. The PTM actually is the Pusat Technology Malaysia. The earlier days, they were the research base for Petronas. Okay, and of course then there's the Bangunan Suruhanjaya Tenaga, which won the ASEAN Energy Award, lowest energy building. You look at it, it's all glass, but most of the glass hardly gets any direct sunlight on it, because it is angled in such a way that the sunlight, it shades itself. Okay, then there's a central core at the top there that allows daylight to go into the building, so that in fact 90% of the time this building doesn't even have to switch on the electric lighting. It's mostly daylit. Okay, and of course there's a very efficient air conditioning system and other efficiency systems. This building consumes less than 100 kilowatt hours per meter squared per year, compared to a building which is not low energy or is not a green building, can consume up to 500 kilowatt hours per meter squared per year. Okay, so these are the key buildings that have been. The GEO building is one of the earliest prototype buildings. It's a research building. It's an office building targeted towards reducing its energy use. You can see the box windows, the shading, many of the elements of a very efficient building. And this building consumes around roughly 120 kilowatt hours per meter squared per year. Compare, as I said again, to the 300 to 500 kilowatt hours per meter squared. This is one of the early residential buildings. Okay, and this is First Avenue in PJ, also another green building. Now, what have we been able to achieve over the last 5 years, from 2009 to 2014? Last 2 months, we managed to achieve 100 million square feet. Okay, 100 million square feet of buildings which have been green certified in Malaysia. This is to us a very tremendous achievement. And you can see the Green Building Index consists of the key elements, the energy efficiency, water efficiency, material and resources efficiency, sustainable planning and management, the indoor environmental quality, and of course the innovation I said to you earlier. The other aspects about the Green Building Index that we are very, we are moving forward with in a very aggressive manner is actually the education, not only of the professionals, but also the public and government. So you can see we've been running this Green Building Forum, which is the International Design Forum. We have been running these forums in every one of the different states, in Sabah, Penang, Sarawak, and of course, we also do do competitions for students to get them to buy into our sustainable planning. Okay, so what's a green building? I think I won't go through the details, but based on the government's incentive given to owners of buildings who go green, we also educate the public and building owners about how to tap into these incentives, consisting of tax rebates for cost of going green, plus stamp duty rebates for residential buildings that go at least minimum of GBI certification. Okay, we also have been running seminars in Penang, in Selangor, and in KL also, and of course many of them are very renowned speakers that we bring in. Most of the intellectual property that we have been doing, the research, our design tools, our rating tools, our manuals are all contained in this website. If you go to the website, it's a rich source of a lot of data about green buildings in Malaysia, and the only reason we formed this organization is because we are a bit fearful that if we leave it out there, put all that knowledge out there, somebody might claim it as theirs, and then the intellectual property is lost, value is lost to somebody else who doesn't value it as much as we do, because we develop it for the use of the public, and all the tools and design tools are given to the public to use for free. There is no cost in there involved. To date, we have been running these facilitator courses for training of our engineers, architects, and quantity surveyors. More than 2,300 candidates have been trained over the last 26 sessions since 2009. We run basic courses in tertiary institutions, and we are moving towards self-certification and towards also e-submission for the rating tools. And every time we run one of these training sessions, the technical training sessions, we also sponsor at least a minimum of 6 staff from our respective local authorities to come and attend these courses for free. Actually, there is a cost to us, but we encourage them to come because we know that they are the people who are going to, when local authorities implement this in time to come as part of the legal process or legal requirement, they will then be knowledgeable about how to implement it and how to see that it's correctly done. Okay. We also run in Green Building Index consultation sessions on a weekly basis to allow people to pre-register and post-register and come in to discuss with us about their problems when they face. We also advocate green building rating to all the public and also government, and talk about the tax incentives and stamp duty exemptions that are given, and also we contributed towards the the flyers and booklets that have been printed. Now the Green Building Index rating system is also being promoted by the Malaysian Green Building Council Confederation, which is a member of the World Green Building Council, and because of that, the Green Building Index is also one of the only Malaysian tool developed that is recognized worldwide. Okay, we also developed the green pages under MGBC. If you want the latest copy of the green pages, you can get it at the counter downstairs. I think there's one in the one of the MGBC booths they have there. What does the green pages contain? It contains the list of all manufacturers, suppliers in Malaysia who have green products, and also lists all the green consultants in Malaysia. Okay, and in 2012, MGBC hosted the conference, the Tropical Subtropical Green Building Alliance Conference in Kuala Lumpur, that attracted more than 1,000 international delegates and speakers. Okay, in 2012, we managed to reach 26 million square feet. In 2013, that went up to 75 million square feet of certified green buildings. So by 2014, this year, we have already reached 100 million. We hope that in the next 2 to 3 years, we can double that figure. And these are some of the buildings I run through very quickly, which have received certification. And to give you an idea of the wide range of buildings, and also the number of buildings is now numbering in the region of about 500 buildings already. So we will continue to work towards building up a sustainable Malaysia. And with that, I want to stop now. I think the moderator is really pointing to his watch today. So thank you. I will just let you have a look at the range of buildings that we have been getting certified. Okay, that's all. Thank you.